So hey guys, it's me Misha. I'm back with another kind of episode or question thing for me that I've been doing, kind of just been talking about, you know, my career as a filmmaker, favorite directors and other things, and just opening up about that. So my so I wanted to talk about another topic. I wanted to talk about the top five things I look for when picking my next project. Now, this is a very difficult list because it really depends on the project I'm doing. Sometimes, and it depends on the mood I'm in too and where I am in my life. Sometimes I find projects that motivate me because I'm at a crossroads and I need to make something different. Sometimes I choose projects that help me, that push me, artistically or technically, something technically challenging. Different projects that I choose vary upon where I am in my life and what things I try to pull from and things that I want to show people. It changes, so it's not like a set in stone list. It's more of a it's more of a list of just five things that I try to connect to with a project, and I'm not saying I need to have all five of these to motivate me to make something, but it's good to just keep these five things in mind when you're choosing a project. For me, I'm a very emotional person, and I'm very heartfelt, and for me, when I pick a project, a lot of the things that I put in my top five list are things that draw me emotionally, as an emotional investment to something that's just me personally as a director. So the top five things I look for in picking a next project, and the number one thing is having a huge emotional connection. And this is what I was talking about. I'm a very emotionally driven person. I'm not afraid to express emotions of who I am very honestly and openly and truly to the world. And that's how I am as a person. So when I try to find something next, like a next project that interests me, of course, I try to find something that has a very huge emotional connection to me, something that I can relate to very extremely emotionally. And this is what I'm saying is these topics aren't going to suit every project. Like I'm not gonna have an extreme emotional connection if I'm making like a like a scary movie or a slasher movie. So it depends on certain projects. This list is very, transparent. Some things are going to fit, some things are not. It really depends on, the seasons of life and what I'm experiencing and what motivates me next. So the second biggest thing that I try to find in a project for my next projects are if it's something relatable. If there are parts of a story or things in a story that are very relatable to me, like things that I've gone through that I can and that I know from experience. Some of the best advice I've gotten from writers is don't write what you know. And and I write my own films too. But when most times when I find projects that I have not running myself, I really try to see if there's stuff that I can relate to, and that's also very important to me when I'm picking a next project. Um, I think the third biggest thing is, again, all these are kind of gonna overlap because they're the same kind of in the same, spectrum, is I need to somewhat have a calling to make that project. It needs to be more like a need more than I want to do it. It's more like I need to do it. And again, that can either be like I need to do it because I'm trying to push myself technically, like if I wanted to make a whole movie in VR, which I'm contemplating that, but I don't know. Yeah, but anyway, it could be something technical, it could be something emotional that I'm attached to, but but one of the most important things is that I need to have some sort of calling. It's more of a need to make it more than, oh, I would want to make it. It's more like I need to make it type thing. Because I trust my gut, I trust my instincts, and 100% when I'm trying to pick and choose stuff and every decision I make, I'm very grounded and I really am true to picking things from my heart and from my soul and from my gut. And I trust my emotions like that when I'm making decisions all the time. So that's just who I am as a person. Very spiritually too. I'm a very spiritual person. So and forgive me again, I live right next to a military base, so if you hear jets, just ignore that. How about we have a moment of silence as they fly over, ignoring my videos. So, um, but hold on one second. God damn, that's loud. That's a loud one. Anyway, so the fourth biggest thing, again, this list is very hodgepodge. It's just things I try to think of in my head. Is um, is something that's very marketable, and that's from a producing standpoint. I'm also a producer as a writer and a director and an editor. I do a lot of different things. I wear a lot of the different hats. I'm very experienced and multi and versatily talented in many facets of film. Um, but from a producing standpoint, when I'm trying to pick a next project, whether I'm just producing it or directing it, yeah, pretty much just producing or directing, I really try to see if it's something that's very marketable. When I was making a suspense and film last year called Psychosis. The story was an online form, a very popular online tour form online, and it had a huge following. And one of the biggest things why I picked Psychosis and asking the offer if I can take a story and make it into a movie was because it already had a huge following. And I knew that's something that would be very marketable and something that would be very successful because of the popularity behind the story and, all the followers and, people been asking if it can be made into a professional movie. And that was actually the biggest thing why I signed on to making Psychosis, even though it didn't get made, unfortunately, because of some falling outs and disagreements. Um, yeah, like I always try to find stuff that is highly marketable. Not everything I do is going to be totally marketable. And when that happens, if the calling I feel in my heart is overweighing the fact that it's not very marketable, I'll just go off and tell myself, okay, even though I know it's not extremely marketable, I'm just going to do this as a passion project and try my best to market it the best I can, even though it's probably not that marketable. So, and another good tip, even though it's kind of off the wall here, is when you're trying to sell a movie or trying to make a movie and you're trying to do it solely to get money back from it, the number one thing that you should be focusing on is not just your story, but you need to be pitching it, marketing it. You need to get investors onto it. And that's the biggest thing is if you're doing this all to earn money, you can't just do any idea that you have, take something that's very popular or successful or has a following and make it that. And make that the catalyst to trying to push your career into the spotlight more. Is try to find something that's highly marketable. Even if it's not your own idea, try to get permission from an offer, a very successful offer, or an article or story or movie or TV show, and try to get hooked onto something that already has a huge following and that can um, astronomically increase your chances of having that dream project where you're earning money to get somewhere bigger. Is trying to find something marketable. So I always try to find something that I know that is in high interest, has a lot of has a lot of high demand. People are asking for it. There's a following. Yeah, I try to find something that's very highly marketable. But that's not for every project though. So I think I'm at number four. Um, See, now this is why my list, I have notes on the side, and my list is just kind of overlapping. So I'm trying to, um, again, just trying to find something that's transparent with me as a filmmaker, as an artist, and if I feel a connection to it, it's, I have a higher chance of making it. And this is the segment where I need to talk about why I'm trying to find things that have a huge emotional connection, highly relatable, very marketable, very transparent, and having a calling. Is all these things is when I'm picking a project, is when either if it's a short film or a feature. Short films, depending on how short and how constricted the budget and constricted time and um you know the resources I have, you know, it all depends, but you know, taking all these things, it doesn't matter how you choose your projects or where your motivations come from, but I would say the thing that raptures everything together is when you're picking a project, um, you need to have all these things encompassing because it needs to be something that is going to keep you motivated for a long time. Especially if you're going to be making something and it's going to take 5 months to produce and 5 months to make. You need something, an idea or an inspiration or a motivation that is always going to keep you just as motivated day in and day out, regardless of the hills and valleys that you climb or fall into the pitfalls of production. You need to find something that's always going to keep you motivated. Because if you pick something that you're not interested in, most chances it's going to flop or it's going to fall through, or you're just going to be like, oh, I'm just tired of this now. Let's do something else. So when you're trying to pick your next project, find something that really interests you, something that you know that either has one or more of these five things, or if you have different five things that you try to look for, try to find things that interest you highly and motivate you highly and just always have you eager to get the project out the door and finished. That's the end goal, is having an idea and then getting it out to the public. That's from point A to point B. You need to have an idea or a catalyst that is very highly motivating you to get it released and done. So anyway, guys, I know this was probably long, but I thought this would be a really good topic to talk about. For my top five biggest things I look for when I pick my next project. All right, guys. Have a good day. I want to throw in one more bit of information, and this kind of goes for the whole marketability thing, is if you pick something historical or nonfiction that's also a good idea, is because if you're trying to sell a movie based off an historical event, that'll drastically increase your chances of it being sold or successful or having a following. And that's the whole idea. Anyway, I'm gonna turn this off and wrap it up here, but I thought this would be a really good educational vlog, so to speak, of things that you need to consider when you're picking your next film project. All right, guys, have a great day, a blessed day, and I'll see you again. Awesome. Goodbye.